This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 12th day of December in the year 2018. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Those police officers who run foul of the law should also expect to face the full consequences for their action. Commissioner of Police Leslie James made it clear this morning during a police force Christmas event that the Guyana Police Force has a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to officers following the force's standard operating procedures and the laws.
We will continue to take strides and maintain the nobleness of this organization. I've reminded the ranks of the need for professionalism. I've reminded them to have exemplary conduct. We would not spare any effort to discipline any rank. What we recognize, however, is that the standing orders were not at all times being executed. I should also report to you that we have taken steps to revise aspects of our standing orders, because when we looked at it, some of what is contained there appears to be archaic.
The police commissioner also said that the Guyana Police Force is currently working towards a full reform plan, which will see a better organized and more capable Guyana Police Force.
The force is at a very important juncture of its continuance, and we have embarked on a reformation plan, compliments of the government of Guyana. We have had consultations, and those recommendations have been submitted and are currently being implemented.
Commissioner James also noted that the force will continue to tackle the crime problem in the country, noting that as the year comes to an end, serious crimes are down by 11%. He noted that there is still work to be done, and that will be the focus of the police force in the new year. More news coming up in just a moment.
Everyone is talking about Fear, Fun and Fashion 2.0 happening on Saturday the 15th of December, an annual event presented by the MHS Old Students Association. We're touching down
on the lawns from 3 p.m.
with non-stop fun till midnight.
From educational booths to bounce castles, jump rope presentation, fashion display by Cetra, food, games and more.
Songs by DJ Kenny High and Movement.
It all goes down at MHS
at the Fear, Fun and Fashion 2.0 Saturday the 15th of December.
Compliments of Banks DIH.
This Christmas, get a loan for your dream car with an extended repayment term. Spruce up your home with that renovation you always wanted and take advantage of low or no down payment. Get new appliances so you can cook up a storm. You'll get same-day approval. Plus, you can win a getaway to a destination of your choice. Visit RepublicGuyana.com today to find out how.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Christmas big, plus size big, big things big, we gone big, yeah. It's GTT Christmas, Merry plus size Christmas, Christmas big, plus size big, big things big, we gone big, yeah. It's GTT Christmas, Merry plus size Christmas, yeah. We giving you, yeah. We giving you. It's GTT Christmas, Merry plus size Christmas, yeah. We giving you, yeah. We giving you. GTT Christmas, Merry plus size Christmas.
Ho ho ho! It's the GTT plus size Christmas. There's always more to love with GTT. Terms and conditions apply. See gtt.co.gy for details.
Welcome back. President David Granger returned to Guyana last evening after completing the second round of medical treatment and evaluation in Cuba for his non-Hodgkin lymphoma. According to a statement from his office, the Cuban team of specialists treating the president have reiterated their complete satisfaction with his response to medical treatment and have explained that they will continue to monitor the president's progress in the coming weeks. While in Cuba, President David Granger received a courtesy call from the Cuban Minister of Foreign Affairs and once again expressed his thanks to the Cuban government for the treatment being afforded to him while in Cuba. Last month, the president was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma, which is a type of cancer. He immediately began treatment in Cuba, and he has explained that he will have to make a number of trips to Cuba as part of the treatment cycle by his doctors there. His treatment is expected to continue until May of next year. The president has scaled down some of his public presidential duties, but intends to continue working from his office at home and at the Ministry of the Presidency. While Guyana is expected to work closer with the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration and Interpol to better monitor and track down those persons suspected of being involved in the drug trafficking trade. Appearing on the NCN Budget in Focus program, Public Security Minister Ramsay explained last evening that successful efforts have been made in the drug fight, and that will continue with support from the international agencies.
We also are tying into that effort, the effort to surveil the big people who are doing cocaine in Guyana, in association with the Drug Enforcement Agency, Interpol, and so on. And that was what caused this guy Big Head to also be caught.
Guyanese hotel owner Shervington Big Head Lovell was recently extradited to the U.S. from Jamaica. He was arrested in Jamaica after arriving there on a flight from Guyana. He is currently facing multiple drug trafficking charges in a New York court. The charges are related to a major drug bust that involves several international drug enforcement agencies, including agencies from the US, Colombia, and Europe. The public security minister said he is convinced that a big chunk of the money that was in the economy before the government change 3 years ago was as a result of the involvement of drug lords and narco dealers.
A number of businessmen came out recently and said they want the proof as to where this economy was getting its money from. Well, a big chunk of it was as a result of those big narco dealers. And people seem not to want to believe that, but we had some very, very important articles written again by Clive Thomas, the criminalized state. Nobody can deny. We don't have the evidence probably like the Americans will now have in relation to Big Ed, but we didn't have the evidence that we could bring to our courts here in Guyana as to how big this thing was. But indeed it was big. Roger Khan was extraordinarily big in it.
Ramsay said some persons might be upset with the government for weeding out the influence of the drug trade on the local economy, but it has to be done.
And you got some businessmen who are saying, but bring the proof. This government is talking plenty. Well, I want to support Mr. Winston Jordan when he said that because of what we are now doing, that humongous set of money, about 187 million US dollars that would normally come into the parallel dark economy here, is no longer there. So we are going to suffer. But there is something righteous about that. And we have to carry on doing the right things, not because it will be the unpopular things. People can vex with us and they're going to say, well, you know, the money is not there in the economy. But it is a distorted economy if you got 187 million US dollars in it because of narco trading, and it is in the economy.
Just last week, the former U.S. ambassador to Guyana, Perry Holloway, indicated that the U.S. government through the Drug Enforcement Administration intends to work closely with the Guyana authorities to arrest the drug trafficking problem here, with links to the U.S. He said he expects that in the coming years, the U.S. will seek the extradition of a number of suspected drug kingpins in Guyana. The Guyana police force is continuing its crackdown on the sale of ecstasy pills. Today, a 22-year-old woman was charged after she was allegedly caught red-handed selling the ecstasy pills to school children. The woman was nabbed during a stakeout and undercover exercise by lawmen. According to court documents, on the 8th of December, the accused, Tamara Accra, was observed in the Crowell Street area interacting with secondary school children. She was spotted selling something to the children, and when approached by the undercover ranks, it was realized that she had several ecstasy pills in her possession that she was selling to the students. She was immediately arrested. In court today, the woman appeared with an attorney at her side and pleaded not guilty to the charge of being in possession of the ecstasy pills. The accused was granted bail in the sum of $50,000 and ordered to return to court in the new month. The Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit and the police force have been monitoring the sale and use of ecstasy among secondary school children here in Georgetown. Over the past few months, at least 2 rings were broken up in 2 leading schools where the sale and use of the pills were found to be high. And finally tonight, moving into the new year, this country will continue to market its tourism product to the international community. Guyana has seen an increased number of arrivals over the past year, and that number is expected to significantly rise as more airlines sign on to serve the Guyana market. The tourism authority is expected to tie in its marketing strategy to the country's green agenda, which encourages more respect for the environment and more conservation efforts. Speaking at an awards ceremony last evening for local tour companies and those playing a role in the tourism sector, the director of the Guyana Tourism Authority, Brian Mullis, said as Guyana promotes sustainable tourism, the mistakes of other countries must be avoided. He said the country must also move away from a supply-driven approach for the sector's development.
Whenever tourism is well managed, it's renowned for its potential to contribute to the preservation of the natural and cultural heritage that the industry itself is dependent upon, empower host communities, create jobs, generate trade opportunities, and foster peace and intercultural understanding. Recognizing this at a national level, we are now in the process of supporting the impending Green State Development Strategy through a Guyana Tourism Strategic Action Plan that's set up for 2018 through 2025, and that's publicly developed with a variety of stakeholder inputs and available on our site, and it is a living plan, so it's going to continue to evolve as circumstances change.
The Tourism Authority has just completed a restructuring plan that was able to address issues of leadership, development, and marketing initiatives. The Tourism and Hospitality Association of Guyana and Caribbean Airlines have both pledged to continue to support the efforts of the Tourism Authority.
Guyana is a very important destination for Caribbean Airlines. As a matter of fact, we transport over 350,000 people to and from Guyana each year. It was recently we partnered with the GTA to bring several international bloggers to Guyana, and they explored the interior, and we intend to continue those type of relationships.
Caribbean Airlines has announced that it shuttles an average of 350,000 passengers annually to and from Guyana. At the awards ceremony last evening, several persons and companies were honored, including Adrian Shiram from Old Fort Tours and Resort for Tour Guide of the Year, Riva Eco Lodge for Most Outstanding Community-Led and Owned Tourism Enterprise, the Canadian Executive Service Organization for Most Outstanding Contribution to Tourism by an NGO, King's Hotel for Service in Tourism and Accommodation and Establishment, the Backyard Cafe for Service Quality in Tourism, Hits and Jams Entertainment for Tourism Entrepreneurs, the White King Ranch for Tourism Recognition, and Surama Eco Lodge for the People's Choice Award for Sustainable Tourism. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.